Hi guys, welcome to Charities Bubble USA, your #1 channel. It's been a minute. I think the last time I posted a video was 25 days ago, but I have been caught up with life. Sometime life deals you with something and you have to slow down and just hold it in. But what I did when I found out that I wasn't able to post many videos, I pulled up one of my videos that had a DS260 and the other one had from I-134, and I put them on the front. So I don't know if you guys have been seeing those videos, although I'm going to redo one, but those videos have been there. But guys, I've been caught up in a personal matter, so I wasn't able to come in. But right now I am back. So I'm going to do a series of videos for you guys. If you have already filled out your DS260 and done your thing, well and good. But like I said before, if you won your DV lottery, it's good. That's really good. And then after this video, I'm going to answer some of the questions that I have seen. There are several that I have seen on my profile, and I want to talk to those people. And at the same time, I'm going to talk about the Form I-134. So I'm going to do 3 series of videos that will come out like every 2 days. So what I can do is to tell you that I am back, guys. I am back. And I'm going to now start doing the live the videos that I normally do when I am driving. I have it all set up right now. And guys, I am back. I don't know if you have missed me, but I have missed you guys. I have missed doing the shows. I really like to do this, guys. And another thing is that I am coming to Kenya, guys. I am coming to Kenya. And I will tell you about the date when we start coming, but it is confirmed that we are coming. We will be coming to Kenya. So I need you to write a feedback there and tell us if you'd like to meet us. And we can plan and see, but I need to have a feedback. Today is the 30th, and you have several days that you can think, and if according to the response that I'm gonna get, then we will decide if we can plan on how we can meet. So finally, we are coming to Kenya after 10 years. Can you imagine? 10 years you haven't seen your family members, 10 years you haven't seen your friends. So guys, the good news is that we will be coming to Kenya here soon. So guys, let's dive into the DS260 and we see what we need to do. And if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, kindly consider subscribing. My name is Charity Nganga. This is Charities Bubble USA, your #1 channel. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So let's look at that. And again, congratulations for those people who won the DV lottery. I know that you were very excited, but right now the excitement has calmed down. I know it has calmed down. So it's getting back to work and making sure that you did the correct thing. And remember, if you made some mistakes, you can always unlock it and correct the mistake. At the same time, if you didn't have a passport, like I said, you can always go back and add your passport information. So, but I like, if you were me, I would get the passport first and then I would fill out, so that way I don't have to go back. So guys, I'm going to do this. I don't know if someone needs this, but I'm just going to put it out there for you guys to see. So I'm going to do it very fast. It's a very long form, but I want to do it so that it's there. It's a current one that I am going to do. So I'm going to share my screen here. This is from the website travel.state.gov. Let me look at my thing and see if it's working well. And then we're just going to go through it very fast, very, very fast, guys, so that you can see. And then I'm going to do the Form I-130. I'm going to tell you why it's important that you have that. But that one is going to come in as a second step that you will have to do. And then we go from there. So this is the form. It's just a sample. I like to go to the website, travel.state.gov, and get you the stuff from there. So this is just a sample. So it's going to ask you for your case number. So there is a case number. You have to put it there. I know when you won your DV lottery, there is that number that is at the right hand side of your of your letter, the one that you got that you have been accepted. That one there, the number is right there, and that's what you're supposed to put there, your case number. And then you're gonna say, who are you? So let's go down and see. You can be the applicant, the person who applied for the DV lottery. You can be an attorney, but you don't need an attorney to fill a DS260 for you. You can be a petitioner. A petitioner comes in where like for example, me, I am applying for a family member to come and live here. That's a petitioner, or it can be a third party agent, maybe a person from the cyber that you met and you agreed that he was going to fill out for you. But this is very simple, guys. You can be able to do it for yourself. So then it's gonna, when you look at the side of it, it tells you what to do. So let's jump over and go here, because this one is telling you about, when you read this blue area here, tells you the steps that you are gonna go for, the steps that you're gonna go to. So this is the first one, getting started, personal information 1. So this is where you put your information, your surname. Remember, it's your last like your dad's name, that's your surname. You're going to write your names and your full name in native. And if you don't have a native name, it's okay. You can leave it. You can just click here and say it does not apply. And then you're going to enter your date of birth. Where you were born is very important. The state and province of birth and the region where you were born. So fill out that information. That information should be in your passport. And that's why I'm saying it's important for you to have your passport, because all this information, you're going to get it from there. And remember, the passport is for everybody. Then we go to the other one is telling us the personal information too. So when you have filled out, it turns white because you're done. You're going to do the personal information too. You're going to do all that. I hope you can see. And then also you have to enter your passport information, the ID, the number of that passport, who gave you the passport, and when it was given and when it expires. Remember, do not use an expired passport. Very, very, very important. So you're going to do the information for the for this person, where they were born, their nationality. Now, there's one thing that you need to know. What is your nationality? This is where you were born. Okay? And your passport must be from where you are born, because remember, we said that the DV lottery has specific countries that it applies. There are some countries that it does not apply. So very, very, very important. Now, it's also going to ask you if you have ever held a nationality on another country. Maybe, for example, you went and lived in Canada, or you went and lived in Dubai, and you were granted nationality. You became a citizen of that country. Then you will have to enter there. If you haven't traveled anywhere, then you do not have to enter anything. And then the other country that you are a nationality on, then you're going to select there. But this one doesn't apply to so many people. It applies to just a little bit of, just a few people, but not everybody. And then it's going to ask you, do you have the passport for your country? You're going to enter that one. Now, it's still repeating. If you look at it, it's repeating. So I'm not going to go through all this because I've already gone through it. And then it's going to ask you about your address. Your address is important. Now, like I said, most of us do not have an address. Like, I remember I didn't have an address. And that's the African way, whereby you find that not everybody has got an address, because the mailing system is kind of, I would say in Africa, I wouldn't say it's outdated, because it's still used, but you find that most people are not able to afford the money to be paying every year for the post office mail number, whatever. They don't have that. And at the same time, maybe the post office is very far away and you don't have time to go to there. And at the same time, maybe the work or the occupation that you are in, or the people that you communicate with, you do not need to use the mail. So you find that it's a little bit hard, but you have a church. The churches, they always have that. Schools always have an address. You can ask for that. At the same time, you can ask from a personal person. I do remember we used for a different person, and that's okay. Okay. Then you're gonna give your number, your phone number. It's important for you to do that, and they will ask you if you have used any other telephone number during the last 5 years. Those are just normal questions that even us, we answer here, especially when we're doing some paperwork for something. They will ask you all these questions. So it's good to answer them appropriately. Remember the email address. Now, this one is important because it has to be the email address that you use when you did your application. Now, use that one. Do not change it, guys, because this is what they are going to be communicating with you. I know that some of you now have been receiving phone calls, some of you have been receiving stuff, but unless it's using the email address, nobody should call you and tell you that you have won the DV lottery, that you should pay the money. No, It comes through your email address, and when you log into your email address, they always have instructions to give you, you know. And that email address, if you want to contact the consular in Kentucky, that is the same address that you use, and then you have to do your case number, your date of birth, and all that stuff. If you need to ask them a question, you have to write them in mail. You have to use all that stuff. So guys, I need you to be very wary of those people who have been calling and saying whatever. Now let's talk about social media. Now, social media is important. You will write there the social media handle that you use. Remember, like I said, do not, then this applies to even when you're living your day-to-day life. Make sure that whatever you're posting is responsible. Don't post just stuff that you look at and you can feel that so whatever you post, when you look at it, do you feel embarrassed? You know, that's what you should ask yourself. And then at the same time, you should ask yourself, if your child looked at what you posted on social media, would they be embarrassed that their parent posted that? And another thing, you should not post stuff that is with conflict, you know, that you're conflicting with people, or, you know, is something that you're conflicting with the government. You should not post such stuff, because those are some of the things that they look at, because they want to be safe. They want to make sure that the person that they're bringing in is very, very safe. So you have to enter your social media, and you cannot lie. You know, nowadays, people are used to, even people can use a different handle and lie, but you find that sometimes it's very easy to track a person through a social media. It doesn't matter the name that you use. It's very easy to track a person through the social media. So make sure that you're putting your social media there, and you're going to put on your present and previous address where you have lived. You're going to do that. Okay. Now, this is the phone number. We've talked about that. Social media, we've talked about that. And then this one is gonna go to your host. Now, right now, I hope that you have found a host. I've seen several people reach out to me about hosting. I'm gonna get back to them, because right now I am back. So, and then we can talk and see if I'm able to help. If I'm able to help, that's okay. If I'm not able to help, then I can do a reference, and maybe you can get help from there. So now, so your host must send you their address, where they live. That is their address. That is what you are gonna enter here. Who lives at that address? You're gonna put that. Or if someone, of course, someone must live in that address, because that's where you're going to live. That's where you intend to go and live. Because like I said, if you have never come to the US, then you don't have an address. So you need someone who lives here, like me, or like someone else, who will give you their address so that you can put it there. Because without an address, then that's gonna be a challenge, because there is no way that they will let you come in. You don't have an address, you don't know where you're going. This is a different story, guys. To come and live in the US is very, very, very different. You need someone to guide you. You need someone to hold your hand until you stand up by yourself. You know what I mean? You will really need that. So it's important for you to write the address and make sure that it is spelled correctly and it has the right zip code. We use the address, like my address, it goes with where I live, the city that I live, and then it's gonna go to the state that I live in. I live in Kansas, and my zip code. Every address has a zip code. That is the area, and it's most of the time it's a 5-digit number. Most of the time it's a 5-digit number that's there, and your host should have written for you there. Now you can add their phone number, but that one it's not a must. You can say if they didn't give their phone number, you can just say does not apply, and you're good. So this is very, very important. Now they will also ask you, is this the address where you want your permanent resident green card mailed? You click yes, because that's where you want your green card to go. Because and like I said, you pay your green card before you leave, so that when you come here, it is processed and it is here. You don't have to wait. There are so many things that the green card is going to help you with. Even getting a job fast, you will need that green card, you know. So make sure that you pay for it before. I know there are some people who say, oh, don't pay for it before, come and pay for it when you come to the US. No, make sure that you do what they are asking you to do, because you experience some hurdles, you know. There are some states that they offer free insurance for kids, for permanent residents. I know all states are not the same, but you find that the first thing that they will ask you about is your permanent resident card. If you don't have it and you are coming, when you come in is when you want to apply for it, it's going to take forever, you know. And remember, not all the states are going to give you the insurance for your children. Some of them do, some of them do not. But that's one of the things that you will need for your permanent resident card, because this is a country where you cannot stay without insurance, guys. You cannot even afford to stay even a minute without insurance. It's important, because things happen. So there's a the permanent resident card, and not the permanent resident, the mailing address. Very, very important, because you have to put that information there. Now, from there, it's gonna go to, that's the same thing. It's repeating itself. This is a sample. It's repeating itself a lot. I think they put it like this way so that someone is not able to duplicate it and, do stuff with it. And then it's going to ask you the information about your parents. Now, you have to give the right information about your parents. If you don't have parents, then just write that you don't know. It's okay. When they were born, if you don't know where they were born, then it's okay. But remember, when you're going to get your passport, most probably they're going to ask you for the ID for your dad and for your mom. Or maybe for your parent. Either parent, it's good to have that information and list it there, and list where they live. Now, and if you don't know this information about the address, just click that you don't know, because it's okay. Your mother, you have to tell about their information. So this is information about your parents in case you want to invite them later, This helps, because, and the name that you put here, you cannot put that your dad's name is this one. You say that you didn't have a dad, and then 3 years later you want to invite someone and you're calling them your parent, and this one you entered a blank. No, you have to remember what you did. And then, so that's your dad, you enter their information. And then your mother, you enter your information. Like I said, it repeats itself. Now, let's come to the spouse. Remember, you talked about yourself, you talked about your mailing address, you talked about your parents, and now you're talking about your spouse, the person you're married to, their surname and their given name and their date of birth, where they were born. You must have this information if you have the passport, and you enter all that stuff here. Address, occupation, what do they do? When you got married. So you must have a marriage certificate, guys. Date of marriage, marriage certificate. And like I said, don't do a big wedding. A big wedding is not needed, because you're coming to the US. As we didn't do a big wedding. Actually, we went for mass. And when we went for mass, the priest just called us, and we said, actually, I don't even remember what we did, actually. I can't even remember what we did, because it was like a 10-minute thing. That priest was so much in a hurry that it was just like a few minutes thing. And then we went home, and that was it. No party, no nothing. That was it. But our marriage was blessed. We were married before, but we had not, our marriage had not been blessed in church. And we did that, and we got our marriage certificate. End of story. Okay, so do that. City, the where you are married, and the region. Now, is your spouse going to immigrate with you? Now, this is where people ask, must all of us come at the same time? No, because when you get your visa, it has a 6 months grace period for you to travel. So from the time that you get it, let's assume that you get your visa next year in February. So from February, maybe February 1st, it has a grace period of 6 months for everybody to be in the US. So you can decide, if you got your visa on February 1st, you will travel on February 5th, so that you can come in, give yourself 3 months to work, and then get settled, get an apartment, and then you start sending fare to your people. Because you have to send them fare to come in, especially if you were having financial hurdles. And make sure that the person who comes in is the responsible person in that marriage. Don't send the one who is not responsible. There is always that responsible one in the marriage. If both of you are responsible, then it's okay. You can send anyone. You don't want to send anyone. And then they come here. And then 6 months later, you are coming in and there is no apartment. They are still hosted. No, you don't want to do that. So make sure that you know very well what you're doing. Okay. So you're going to say, if they're not coming with you, you say yes or no. It depends with you. And then when are they going to come at a later date? You'll say yes or no, depending on when you want to come. They don't even ask the date that they want to come in, but you have to stick to the deadline of 6 months, because you want to be here at that time. And it repeats itself here. So that's the information of your spouse when you are married. Very, very important. So that's your current spouse that's talking about. If you are divorced, it's going to ask you about another spouse. So do you have any previous spouses? Yes or no? If you had if you had been divorced, it's gonna ask you for more information. But if you don't have another spouse, it's okay. Just say no and go ahead. And especially if you didn't have a formal marriage with a paper marriage certificate, then just let it be, guys. Okay, now, so do you have previous spouses? You write their information there. Now, this one you have, like I said, you must have a marriage certificate, the date of marriage and the date the marriage ended. Very, very important. So you give that information. Now, then it's going to ask you about your kids. So, do you have any children? Yes. How many children do you have? The number that you enter here is going to populate the pages that you need to enter the information of your kids. So if you put one child, it's going to give you one area to put the information of that child. If you put 10 children, it's going to populate 10 more pages for you to be able to put that information for your children. So this is important, guys. And this is where that you have to remember, guys, that the children here have to be either your biological children. The children here have to be either your legally adopted children or your stepchildren. And in the initial application, when you do your initial application, there was this page, the same page that came in that asked you to give the information about your kids. So maybe you put 5 children, and then here you want to put 10 children because you have won the DV lottery. It doesn't work like that, guys. Make sure that you stick to what you had talked about. And like you see in my blue area here, it keeps on changing. The way I'm working on it, it keeps on telling me. So I've talked about parents, I've talked about the spouse, I've talked about the previous spouse, I've talked about the children. Now we come all the way down. So it's you fill all the information about your children. And if they're coming at a later date, you're going to enter there. Just the same as you did with your spouse, you're going to do that. And then from there, it's going to ask you about previous US travel information. Have you ever come to the US? That's important for them. They want to know, has this person ever come to the United States? So they want to know that. And you tell them yes or no. If you have never been here, well and good. If you have ever been here, then you're going to tell them when. And were you given a visa? You're going to tell them when were you given a visa. You cannot, these are stuff that is outright, and you have to give the right information, guys. And even if you had gone to the US and your visa was refused, US embassy, and you weren't given a visa, it's good to tell them yes. If you had been given a visa and then you took a plane, it can be so disheartening. You took a plane and then you came at the port of entry and they take you back, because they do that. Sometimes sometimes they're so rude that they will just send you back. It's crazy. So you will tell them, and you will tell them why. Why were you denied entrance at the port of entry? So you're going to tell them about that. So you're going to put all your information, when you came in, how long you stayed, and the date you were given the visa, all that, the visa number. If you don't remember it, then it's okay. You can write there you don't know. Even if you don't know it, they have that information there. They do have it. Have you ever had any visa, a US visa that has ever been stolen? If you've never come to the US, don't worry about this stuff. Just say no, because it is what it is. What do you do for a living? You're going to put there. And what do you want to do? I would make it easy for myself, because before you come here, you don't know what you want to do. I would say healthcare here. What you do is okay, but then I would say healthcare is where I want to work. That's okay. I want to work in a factory. I want to work in production. Just put there. I want to be a farmer. It has so many options that it's going to give you there. So see, agriculture. Maybe that's what you did. If you did, if you are a teacher, you're going to enter all your stuff here. And that's okay. Whatever that you did and whatever that you intend to do, just think of something that you can come and do. You don't have to stick to that when you come into the US. You can always change, because when you come here, there's so many options, guys. You don't even know what to do, but you have to look for where to start. That's the most important thing, to look for where to start. And then after you have started your stuff, then you can go to a career. That's okay. But you have to look for a common ground that you have to start. And then after you fill out that one, you're going to come all the way. So if you're not employed, you're going to say why you are not employed, all that. It's okay. Remember, if you have gone up to high school, you have a high school certificate, you're good. They are not going to base your visa or your application on your job. No, they will go off of your certificate. Okay. Then we're gonna come here. So all that is talking about the same thing. So I'm just gonna skip it. When you see me skipping, it's a repetition because I say this is just a sample of the DS260. Now we go all the way. I want us to go to the petitioner, the person who is doing it for you, and this one doesn't apply so much because your visa is different. It's a DV lottery visa that you are applying for. So it doesn't really apply so much about the petitioner. But if there's someone who is doing it for you, then you have to whatever. But the petitioner just say no, you know. And then I skipped here a little bit, and let's see. So if you have worked in other countries, it's gonna ask you. You're gonna tell them there if you have traveled, if you have been in the military. You're gonna let them know. And so when were you in the military? What was the branch? What was your rank? Military is good, guys, you know. So if you have served in the military, that's a good thing, that you have served your country. So now from there, it's going to ask you about questions about ethics, about, you know, about who you are as a person. What have you done? You know, so have you traveled? Have you served in the military? Have you worked for a professional, social, charitable organization like the AMREF, you know, all those people who provide aid? Do you have specialized skills such as making firearms, explosive, nuclear, biological, or chemical experience? I will want to know that. Have you ever been involved in a paramilitary unit? Those are the people who are just bad people who just like to fight the government. You have to say yes or no. Can you speak or read languages other than your native language? You can tell them. Like, for example, when we came from Kenya, we could speak our native language, which is Kikuyu, but at the same time, you can speak English and Swahili. Tell them the languages that you can speak. They want to know that information. And that's just the questions that you will have to ask. They will also ask you, so I'm just skipping because it's asking the same thing. So you will tell them, if you click on yes, then you have to tell them, like the languages, you have to tell them the languages that you can speak or read. And then any additional work information you're going to tell them, and then you're going to talk about the petitioner. This one you can just say no. Okay? All right. And then so this information about the petitioner, most of the time it doesn't apply. Because if someone else is filling out for you and it's a friend, you will call them a third party. You're not going to call them a petitioner because, like I said, a petitioner is like me. If I apply for someone at home, or maybe an employer wants to hire you and they apply for something for you, that's your petitioner. Or maybe it can be yourself. And then from there, do you have any diseases like TB? But this one they will know when they go to test you in for your medical, because you have to go for your medical. They will tell you about this one, and you will be if you have TB, if you test positive for it, you have to go through treatment, and that doesn't affect your visa or anything, because they cannot discriminate because of the disease. So they will help you to treat your disease, and then after you're good, then they are gonna give you your visa. So this is just the medical and health information, and at the same time, they will ask you if you have any documentation that establishes that you have vaccinations that were done. That's important for you to, if you had records, vaccination records, then you take them with you, and then they can decide on what to give you, because these vaccinations are important. And I know now, like, they have added the COVID vaccination. You can say no, and you know you can just say no. You know, people say, oh, I cannot be vaccinated, I don't know what. You know, when COVID came and people were just trashing that vaccination. But I do remember seeing a patient who had refused, and then they became very sick, and on their deathbed they were like, I wish I had. You know, so it's good to have vaccinations. I know there are some people who do not because of religion, which is a different case, but you have to establish whether you have done this, because some of these are very, very, very important. Very, very important, guys. When you come into a different country, different weather, different everything. Do you have a mental or physical disorder? You have to tell them that. Or have you been a drug abuser? It's important for you to give that information. Okay? Now, It tells you all that. And if you say a yes, then you're going to explain. You're going to explain all that stuff. You don't have any vaccinations, they're going to give you. Okay? Now, they're going to ask you if you have ever been arrested, if you have ever been engaged in violating the law, if you have ever engaged in controlled substances. You know, controlled substances are drugs. Are you coming here to engage in prostitution? Are you coming here to do money laundering? Have you ever done human trafficking or helped someone to do human trafficking? Or has anyone in your family done that? Most of these, if you're an upright person, you can say no, but I cannot say for everybody because I don't know what everybody does. But it's important for you to give that information. And remember, that's why they will want you to go and get your and get a certificate of the certificate that you get from the government to say that you are a good person, you are an upright person. You know, they will want that. It's called the certificate of good conduct. They will want that because they want to invite a good person in their country. It's like if you want to invite someone in your home, you don't just invite anyone. No, you need to look and see. You don't want to invite a thug to come in your house and kill you in the middle of the night. No. So they want to know all this information. That's why some of them you can read and you're like, oh my gosh, why are they asking all these questions? They want to know. Because if you lie and then they go and find out that you had done something, then you are not going to be given the visa. So you have to answer these questions to the truth of your knowledge. You must do that, guys. Okay? If you have trafficked people, you have to tell them. That's important, guys, for you to do that. Okay, now the other one is, have you ever helped other people to obtain visa entry into the United States by fraud or willful misinterpretation or other unlawful means, whereby you lie and then someone gets a visa and you have lied about it? If you have ever done that, you might find yourself in a lot of trouble. So you're going to say that. But if you have never come to the US, you have nothing to do this. Have you ever been deported? There are some people who come in and for various reasons, they are deported back. They're told to go back home. Some people are given, you know, a grace period. They're told you have to go back home by this time. And others, they are arrested and they're taken to court or whatever, and then they are shipped back home. So if that has happened to you, you have to let them know. Because that can happen to you and then you apply for the green card and you win. So you'll have to tell them, be upfront and tell them, this is what happened to me and this is why I was deported. And all this information talks about deportation, being taken back home for, you know, for any reason. It doesn't matter. You have to tell them all that information. And then after that, let's say this one is, have you ever overstayed? If you have overstayed, you're going to let them know. Have you been ordered to be removed? You're going to let them know. All this is about being removed to the US. You have to tell them. Okay? So you answer all that. Most of this will be no if you have never come to the US. But if you have, then you're going to tell them. If you came in here and you became a felon or you did a bad thing and they say that you have to go home, then you have to tell them. Okay? So you have to do that. Okay? Okay. Have you ever assisted another person in withholding custody of a U.S. citizen child outside the United States from a person granted legal custody by a U.S. court? Have you ever withheld a child there who is a U.S. citizen and you held them and you didn't want them to whatever? You have to tell them, guys. You have to tell those people. And then the last thing that we're going to talk about is about Social Security. Let's see. Yeah. Okay, now we'll talk about the Social Security. It looks like the last thing here they're gonna ask you if you have ever been given a social. Most of you will not have had this number because you have never come to live here, so you will not have. But if you had a social, you're gonna tell them the Social Security number, and you're gonna tell them when it was issued. That's important information because the social is you. Like your Social Security number, that is you when you come to the United States. It's a very important number that tells everything about you. And then you're going to tell them when you have it or whether you haven't had it. And then you're going to sign and submit your thing. Okay? If someone was helping you to fill the application, that is called the preparer. That's why I was telling you have nothing to do with the petitioner. A preparer, then you're going to say yes or no. If it's a yes, then you're going to there's going to be open another drop down that is going to fill out the information, and then you're going to enter your NVC number, the number that you are given, and your passport number, and then it's gonna give you a code, and then you're gonna submit, and then you are done. You are done with your thing. So that's how it's done, guys. 34 minutes of, so I have ran through it. So it takes forever for you to fill out the DS260. So I hope this helps, guys. It's just a repetition. If you have done your DS260, well and good. If you haven't done it, follow this one and it's gonna help you. So guys, I'm gonna see you in the next video. Thank you and God bless you.